What's up guys, it's Aleks Dayum. So I'm starting a new series for the YouTube channel. So I'm going to show you my exact training routine because I've switched over to a push-pull legs routine, whereas before I was doing a normal bodybuilder split. So now I'm going to be hitting every muscle group twice per week. So we're going to start off with Monday's workout, which is going to be a leg day. Let's go. So before I actually start my leg workout, what I do is walk on the treadmill on an incline for 10 minutes just to warm up, get some blood flow, get my muscles nice, loose and relaxed, and also just to help me focus and get more in tune with my workout and get me actually prepared mentally and physically for the workout ahead. So the first exercise for the workout is going to be front squats with the barbell. I reckon this is the best exercise you can do if you want to make your quads grow. So because you're doing front squats instead of back squats, it actually helps target your quads a lot more, which is what I'm focusing on mainly for legs. So that's why we're starting off the workout with this exercise. So it's a really good compound movement, meaning it's involving multiple joints, so you can push heavier weight compared to like an isolation exercise. So with this, try to keep your feet relatively close together, and I sort of focus on when I'm coming down, I try to lean forward a bit more to engage my quads more, and as I'm coming up, I lock out completely so I can squeeze my quads. That's again going to engage your quads better. This exercise might be a little bit difficult and unorthodox and weird when you first try to do it, but trust me, you'll get used to it eventually and it'll start feeling really good and you'll start seeing a lot of gains and a lot of progress and you'll start to love it. Also, it's a bit more difficult than back squats, so you usually can't go as heavy, but still try to go 8 to 12 reps.
Cracking.
So next exercise for the workout is going to be walking lunges. We're going to do it with a barbell, and again we're going to do it like a front squat, like a front variation of lunges. This is again to help target your quads more. So Monday's leg workout is going to be really focused on quads. That's the main thing, and then a bit of calves. And then the next leg session throughout the week will be focused on all parts of your legs. But Monday's workout is mainly focused on quads just because I want mine to grow fucking insanely large and I want to get shredded quads with heaps of feathers and striations, because that's a really big goal of mine right now. It's probably my #1 priority in terms of my physique, so I'm going really hard for it. So with the lunges, you don't want to step out completely straight. You want to step out sort of at an angle and make sure it's a nice wide step and lunge to get nice range of motion. As you're coming down, make sure you focus on stretching your quads, and then as you're coming up off the floor, make sure you're just pushing with your quads. And also when you're coming down, that's when you want to breathe out, and as you're coming up, that's when you want to breathe in. Breathing is actually really important during your sets and during your reps, so make sure you're focusing on your breathing because it's actually going to help you push a larger weight. It's going to help you focus a lot more on the mind-muscle connection.
Palm trees waiting for the summer, knowing there's nowhere to go. 'Cause I am happy on this island, wanna be my farmland. I don't ever want to leave, I'm in a tropic club.
Alright, so next exercise for the workout is going to be leg press. So you'll see the stance that I use. I use a very narrow stance, so my feet are close together, and I put my feet closer towards the bottom of the platform rather than the top. So putting it at this specific stance is going to help target your quads more, specifically your teardrop and your outer sweep. So with this, the range of motion isn't so large, but trust me, the exercise is great. You will feel it definitely. And with leg press, it's pretty awesome. It's a bit more compound, so you can actually push a lot of weight compared to other exercises, which is sick. So make sure you stack on the weight, but make sure your form is good at the same time as well. Don't sacrifice good form just to push more weight. It's not worth it in the end, because what you want to make sure you're doing is engaging all your muscle fibers and tearing them down as much as possible. And the only way you're going to do that is if your form is actually good, and that's going to result in more gains and more muscle growth. And with this, I sort of focus on pushing more with the top of my feet and my toes. That actually helps me engage my teardrop and my outer sweep a lot more. So yeah, I'm pretty much applying all the pressure on the top of my foot and my toes. This should help you engage your quads a lot better. Alright, so next exercise for the workout is going to be leg extensions, but we're going to do a drop set for every single set. So it's going to be 5 drop sets, which means it's going to be 10 sets in total. So leg extensions is a great isolation exercise for your quads, probably the best one you can do, just because your feet are just locked in there. You should only be moving the weight with your quads, which is the main purpose, which is exactly what you want to be doing. So yeah, the drop sets is just going to make the workout a bit more intense. It's going to increase the time under tension. It's going to make you do more reps and more sets. And yeah, it's just going to lead to more muscle growth and more gains in the end. So drop sets are my favorite way to change things up and just increase the intensity of my workouts, tear down more muscle fibers, make it more difficult, increase my heart rate. They're just awesome. You need to incorporate them into every single exercise you do. Every single exercise I do, the last set is always going to be a drop set, and that's always just how I've done it, just to change things up and make it more difficult. And it's really just, it really pushes your boundaries and makes you push further than you would normally. Alright, so now we're going to move on to calves, because you can't skip calves. Calves are fucking important, guys. So the first thing we're going to do is like a leg press variation, but we're going to be doing calves. So with this, you'll see that my stance, I keep my feet nice and close together, and I'm trying to push with the top of my feet, so like my toes. And the reason I wear Converse shoes always on leg day is because they have a flat bottom, so that's really good for squats and an exercise like this, so you have more range of motion. So you have like a balanced and sturdy base to push off for your squats, and also for something like this. So with calves, make sure you're really feeling that stretch as you're coming down, and as you're coming up, you only need to be pushing with your calves, and that's all you want to be moving the weight with, and focus on squeezing the fuck out of your calves as much as possible. And after every single set, I recommend, well, I don't recommend, you got to do this. You got to stretch after every single set. It's really important, because if you stretch your calves, it's going to allow you to have more range of motion, because the muscle fibers have been stretched out. More range of motion means you're going to tear down more muscle fibers. Tearing down more muscle fibers means you're going to make more gains.
Memories die out too hard. We were traveling the mountains just to find the loudest seas. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to,
Alright, so last exercise for the workout is going to be calf raises. Another great exercises for calves. Honestly, with calves, you don't need too much weight. As in, you don't need too much weight to the point where you're not even using your calves to lift the weight. Like there's no fucking point in that. You want a comfortable weight. It's still very challenging, but you want to make sure every single rep you're focusing on using just your calves to bring up that weight. Because if you're using like other parts of your legs, it's really not going to benefit you that much and your calves aren't going to grow. And what's the point of doing a fucking calf raise if you're not actually using your calves? So again, really focus on that stretch as you're coming down. And as you're coming up, push up with your toes and the top of your feet and engage your calves as much as possible. Squeeze the fuck out of them, and that's the only thing you should be thinking about. The only thing you should think about when you're coming up is squeezing your calves as hard as possible. Alright, so that is the end of the video. I just want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. And always remember to keep the pump.